Loki, mute up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome, and thank you for joining us on this glorious evening as we embark on our journey on the road to glory.
What's up, party people of the LSG, party people of the SFL, and party people of everybody else? What's going on? What's cracking? What's happening this Wednesday night, this hump day night? Glad to see all the party people in the house. I will get to all of you as soon as possible. This is going to be a shorter show than normal because we got a couple things that we don't have to do tonight. Yes, Charles, I just got your DM. I know. I did that on purpose, actually. We got a few things that we're not doing tonight. We were not able to get any San Diego Mavericks to come on the show for the upcoming weekend game to talk about that. So we won't have that. And we've got no Nate's great plays this week because we didn't have a game. So other than Mike All running us about an hour longer, I think we should probably be okay on time tonight for probably the first time since the existence of this show. So speaking of the existence of this show, we can't have the show without my right-hand man, the one and only owner of Lone Star, Charles Doherty. Charles, what's up? What's going on? How you doing tonight, bro?
Doing great, man. What's going on?
I got me a big-ass glass of wine.
Go red.
Drinking a nice Michael David Cab out of Lodi, California. And, of
Of
course
course you are.
my trusty, dusty water bottle, which is
Nice.
vital. It's vitally important.
Is it cold in Knoxville?
So here's the deal, folks. I should probably tell you this. I don't even know if we'll make it through the whole show. We are on tornado watch in Knoxville. We haven't had a tornado since the 1940s, but they decided to have one tonight. So it could be anywhere between now and the next couple hours. So if I don't know, if you see me
Talk fast.
duck under the desk or run out the door or whatever, you know what's up. You know what's going on. Charles, let me get back to our schedule here real quick. Hold on, I gotta take all this other crap off.
This tonight just seems a little disjointed.
Well, I know. Well, so because I don't know what happened, but when I went to go do all the pre-show stuff, we didn't have any voice channels. We had no rooms. I had to recreate them, and I didn't have time to recreate the voice widget. So I will be recreating that in a minute. But actually, before we talk about the upcoming schedule and what have you, let me check the party people in the chat. Bo Martin Jr. was the first one in, followed by Bullet Boletsky, the perfect, amazing, always hot Pink Lisa in the house. Cornwall, Zach Holdorf is here. Oh, look at the red sirens. XF Sphinx. That is Cam Curtis. Cam, welcome back. Or not Cam Curtis. Dude, there's too many Cams and Curtises. I mess that up all the time. It is Cam Curtis. But every time I say Cam Curtis, is it Cam or is it Curtis? Who's the announcer name? What's his name? Chris Curtis, right? Too many Cams, too many Curtises, but I should know this because he was Access Live Party Person of the Year last year. Bob Funk is in the house. Some guy named Dave Axis looks like he's in here. Ike McBride, Albert Begin, Pseudo Nakai, Frank the Franchise Wade, Albert Begin, if I already said that, Kendra Hall, welcome, glad to see you, sweetie. I don't know where your man is at. I don't see Nate anywhere. Let me see who else is here. Who else is this? Did I say? Oh, Nate Hall, he's right there. I see him now. We Love Marbles is in the house. I'm not sure who you are. Packer Fred. And Bo Martin Jr. I said already. So I think that's about it for tonight so far. Bullet Boletsky, hide in the nearest Buc-ee's if you see it turning. Yeah, problem is the nearest Buc-ee's isn't done being built yet, bro. That's the problem.
I've got Buc-ee's. Every night it's Buc-ee's. Every time.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking Yogi should probably mute his hot mic is what I'm guessing too. Or maybe I should just server mute him. Anyway, Charles, I got to ask you. Did you enjoy your week this week?
Oh man, I loved it.
Did you enjoy your bye week?
Oh man, it was good. I love it. Love the bye week.
I love how you've completely reversed your position.
Hey, I am the first to admit it that my initial thoughts and I've changed. I've grown. I've become a better man.
All over the bye week?
Yep.
All right. I will I'll just take your word for that, I guess. And Ike McBride, yes, I agree with you. It's getting deep in here. No kidding. Her name is Skippy Curtis. Who are we talking about? What did I miss? Did I miss Skippy Curtis? Anyway.
XFLM player, I think.
Oh, is that
The
right?
new one.
Oh.
I believe so.
Oh, is that
Could be
who
wrong.
is that who We Love Marbles is? Is that what
No,
Cam is saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. Listen, this show's going to be off the rails because we had some tech issues before the show. We don't even have 2 segments tonight that we normally do since we didn't have a game. So we're just going to do we're just going to do whatever we want to do. So I think at this point,
boy.
Charles, you know what you probably want to do right now?
What do I want to do, bro?
You probably want to introduce our panelists for tonight, I'm guessing.
You want to do panel first?
Yeah, well, I already did the party people, so we're good.
Okay, well, why don't we do the panel?
You know what? Why don't you just go ahead and do the panel?
Okay, so Red. We're in the red corner.
Red.
Oh boy, this is going to be a long one.
It's actually not.
The only female running back in the SFL, the only player that can use the title Esquire.
Ooh.
She puts the habeas in habeas corpus. We like her. We like Ike McBride.
Ike, what's up? Welcome back to the show. Love your background, by the way.
Hello, party people. I am sporting some Lone Star me.
I see that you're a lot like you get that whole diva vibe going on now. What's up?
Well, and I've got sleeves on.
Oh shit. Hey,
And it's also my Ike McBride T-shirt. But
breaking news: Ike McBride moving to wide receiver 2 next season at a Lone Star franchise near you. All right, Ike, welcome back to the show. It was great having you the first time. Glad to see you tonight and have you back.
thanks, Dave.
You got it. Who else we got there, Mr. Ambassador? You cracked me up. You cracked me up with.
You're calling me Mr. Ambassador?
Dude, you cracked me up with that shit earlier today. But go ahead.
What? Okay. So I can go on and on with this introduction, so I'm going to try and whittle it down as best as I can. Okay? So this is many facets, many talents to this individual. Okay, on and off stage, he does movies, TV, radio commercials, promotional videos, live events, banquets. He sings, he MCs. He even does something called the sizzle reel. I don't know what it is, and I'm afraid to ask. But all I know is if you need that professional sound, that deep, sultry bass, or even just the guy next door, you'll find them all in the one and the only Bo Martin Jr.
Bo Morpheus Jr. Dude, what's this sizzle, what my nizzle, or whatever the hell he just said? What is that all about?
Well, apparently somebody found my website, Charles.
That's
It
awesome.
is a beautiful, wonderful Wednesday, and what a glorious evening to everyone. I'm so happy to be here as always. Dave, thanks for having me. And Charles, I will call you the whittler because you whittled that quite well.
You-
Yeah.
Whittler.
I don't know how you found my website, BoKnowsVO.com, but thanks for finding it. And yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. Good evening to you all.
BoKnowsVO.com, in case you guys didn't catch it the first time or the second time.
He's able to do a plug in his
It's-
hello.
Isn't that amazing? Well,
Wow,
I mean,
he's
you
good.
brought it up, Charles. It's kind of on you.
Was that a sizzle reel we just witnessed?
No, a sizzle reel is something special. You gotta DM me about the sizzle reel.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear.
Hey, so go ahead and sizzle into his DMs and ouch. Okay. All right, folks. We are let's get to some football. What the hell? You guys want to talk some football? I mean, kind of why we're here. Here's the deal. Oh, that's not what I want. How about that one? We are going into week 13. We had our bye in week 12. We have 2 games left. We play at San Diego, who just came off a disappointing loss against Portland, giving Portland their first win of the season. And then we wrap up in Mexico City. And Charles, let me start with you first. As you look at the rest of the schedule, San Diego is not to be trifled with, though. They've beaten Florida. They've put up a lot of points in some games. This is not going to be an easy victory. But if we are to win this week, everything comes down to the last game of the season for the division championship against Mexico City. Sum up these last couple weeks for me real quick.
I think if we win one, we're in.
In the playoffs, but not necessarily division champs.
Right. If we win both, I believe we're divisional champs. And I'm not 100% sure if we get a bye.
I think that depends on the other division because there's only 3 of the division leaders get a bye. So it'll come down to
But we're trying to win both,
tiebreakers.
obviously. But, one and we're in. And I think if we lose both, we're probably doing sizzle reels.
Yeah. Ike, as you see, and we'll break down San Diego here in a little bit, but as you see these last 2 games, we went to Mexico City earlier in the season, lost in overtime. We have a slight home field advantage, if you will, coming up in a couple weeks. But we got to get by a San Diego team that has a very explosive offense and can throw up points and deep passes, to Optimus and Liam Hammer whenever they want. How do you see these last 2 weeks kind of panning out overall?
I see him kind of the same way Charles does. I think we have to really be careful about San Diego right now because of what happened Sunday night. I think they're going to be a little bit. I guess, hungry.
Right.
But, and then I'm glad that we've got Mexico City at home instead of away for the last game. So
Yeah.
maybe the AI will be nice to us and give us a little home field advantage.
Hopefully hopefully. Well, I mean, we did go to overtime on their turf.
Right.
But Bo Martin Jr., let me wrap this up with you before we move on to the next segment. Oh,
He gone.
shit. Did he just sizzle his way out of here? What happened to Bo Martin Jr.? Bo, can you hear me?
I'm here. Something happened to my camera, but can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
you. Hey, so
Okay.
if yeah, it's weird talking to just
Weird
a,
night tonight.
he just put himself in the matrix. What the? I mean,
That's not even a matrix. That's like a
I don't know.
iceberg fell
Is
on
that
him.
what it's?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So yeah, as long as you can hear me, I think that's all that matters. We are. What are we right now? 6-4, I think.
Yeah.
We have the potential to end up 8-4 if we can close out the season with 2 victories. That's a long way from the preseason predictions of Lone Star way back when 12 weeks ago.
Yeah, it is, and I tell you what, every win I get a little bit happier. We currently sit at 6-4 when all of the pundits, with the exception of I want to say maybe 2, had us doing no better than 6-6 or no better than 4. I think most of them had us no better than 4-8. There were only maybe 2 or 3 of them that even had us finishing at 6-6, much less with the opportunity to go to 8-4. So I think we're in a really good place right now. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I think we're in a really good place right now, and I'm concerned about San Diego because, like you said, they're really reeling right now after their loss to Portland, and so I'm gonna assume that they're uber focused on redeeming themselves the following week. However, me being the nosy person that I am, I couldn't help but notice, and I don't know if you had planned on talking about this a little bit later, so maybe I'm stepping on your toes, maybe not, but I couldn't help but notice that I saw probably 3 or 4 progressions missed for San Diego this week.
Yeah, we'll talk.
So-
We'll talk about that when we talk about San Diego. I noticed that as well. They got brought up to me from somebody else as well, so we'll definitely hit on that here in a little
Okay,
bit.
so I'm definitely not looking past them.
Yeah.
They're going to be. We all know how stiff the competition is in San Diego. We all know Optimus Klein is one of the greatest to ever do it at his position. And there's several other big names on that roster that can make things happen, and they've got a wide receiver core that can compete with anybody. So me being on the defensive side of the ball, I'm not looking past anybody, and so I'm expecting them to come at us full steam. And we got to give it our all because we got to run full steam all the way through San Diego, and then we got to run through that crazy gauntlet of Mexico City.
Agreed. We'll break San Diego down a little more later in the show, but before we do that, every show, before we even get to Bullet Beletsky and the bullet points that cover some of the highlights or lowlights of the previous show, we got to talk about our Lone Store, Charles. The Lone Store that we love so much, and we have such great gear in there. But every week, you come on here and you share a little something about a product, and we usually have a special model that you've taken, hours and hours to prepare for their shoot and all that stuff. So what do we have this week?
This one was under the radar. I mean, these gentlemen, they don't advertise what they do when they're not doing their day job and when they're not doing the SFL, playing in the SFL. So this one was a coup this week. I'm really proud that our Lone Star investigators went out there and found this fact out.
Well, break it down for us and let us know. You ready?
Yep, I am ready. So it turns out that the Fenix, when they're not on the field and doing their day job, they're tag team wrestlers. They're known as the Fabulous Flying Fenix. And they are using, if you look close, it's hard to see here, but they are using the Lone Star merchandise full tilt. You see the signs there with I'll make you famous. And if you look close, there's even some water bottles, Fennec water bottles, Ace water bottles being tilted back. I don't know what's in them. And they also got, these two guys are so Lone Star, devotees that they both have different tats on their breasts, if you will. And they're different. One has the LS. It looks like Deuce over there on the left has the LS with the flag, and then Ace on the right has the new branding on his left, maybe his right breast, depending on what you're looking at there, fellas. But man, they wanted, when I found out and asked them about it, they wanted for me to kind of do a plug for them. There is a last man standing match that they're going to be fighting in, it's on Saturday, May 21st at 7 p.m. at the VFW Post 2144 in Holland, Michigan. Okay, so props to them, and thanks for using our apparel and making it work, guys.
Amazing. I did not know that about the whole Ace to Deuce connection. That brings a whole nother meaning to that. But yes, we have plenty of stickers for players, for Lone Star, in the Lone Star store at lonestar.myspreadshop.com. And does anybody want a picture of Ace and Deuce here in their wrestling match, please DM me and I will send you a copy so you can put a poster up on your wall at home. Because I
think both of them kind of need to lay off the carbs a little bit.
Well, I mean, who doesn't want to have that poster on their wall at home? Just saying. All right, Charles, thank you for that. Yep. We just have everything, man. We got hats, we got stickers, we got water bottles. Have I mentioned we have water bottles? Have you seen my water bottle? I don't know. I don't usually show it off, but in case you hadn't seen it, I wanted to let you know about it. Speaking of my water bottle, and somebody who likes to make fun of it as much as possible, one of our friends of LSG from around the SFL, Mr. Bullet Boletsky, is in the house. Bullet, what's going on? How you doing tonight, bro?
What's going on, Dave? Just chilling on a very chilly evening in the Big Apple here.
I heard it's pretty cold up there. What's going on?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like 65 degrees one day. It's 45 degrees today. It's insane.
It sounds insane. Well, speaking of insane, your bullet points usually cover a pretty insane show of ours. So why don't we get to bullet point number 1 from last week?
Okie dokie. Here we go. Bullet point number 1. So Dave opened the show by joking about the FBI being outside his house and mentioned something about alleged stolen Wi-Fi signals and brushed it off. What he failed to mention was that they were actually there to investigate his involvement in a massive fake Lone Star Glory water bottle operation. Dave somehow managed to turn his fetish into a lucrative underground operation, but leaked sources indicated that the FBI caught wind based on an anonymous tip from another Lone Star player. Who could this have been? Whose feathers did Dave ruffle? What? The list is long, so it could be anyone. Stay tuned.
Wait a minute. Are you saying one of my own tribe ratted me out, bro?
That's what I heard, my man.
Oh, Charles, we got to talk after this, bro.
Okay.
That's it. Bullet point number 2.
Okay. Greg Soto turned to Jobu to protect him from the injury bug that has plagued him recently. This, of course, is going to backfire because Greg hit Jobu's rum stash pretty hard before the show. So Greg will be playing his next game without protection and will be completely exposed. And before everyone starts with the jokes, I'll just pause myself.
Yeah, I would say that the words Greg exposed and unprotected have been in many a sentence before tonight, but we will move on to bullet point number 3.
Okay, number 3. Greg was feeling it after polishing off an entire bottle of Jobu's rum and apparently offered Zach Holdorf a nipple photo and a Cuban banana hammock Speedo. No confirmation yet if Zach was receptive to Greg's package of goodies.
I'm not sure how to respond to that one, but there seems to be a lot of Greg Soto going on here.
Yeah, I think Greg was in his feelings with that rum, Jobu's rum last week. I think he was.
Speaking of feelings, let's move on to bullet point number 4.
Okay, Nate. That's actually number 5. Was almost no worries. This one, you did. It's all right. We could do them in reverse so we don't mess up the segue. Fair enough. Okay, number 4. Number 4. Nate Hall was unfortunately under the weather and unable to choose the Lone Star plays for the week, but somehow he ended up with the number 1 play again. That's 3 times in 10 weeks for a safety, mind you. He's clearly either made a deal with the devil, secretly prayed to Jobu, or summoned some mystical forces from under his massive couch that allows him to bend the will of anyone he chooses.
Wow, the mystical forces from under his massive couch. Charles, you've had a lot to say about the massive Hall couch. Do you have any comment on this one?
I just think there's some dark hidden secrets about that couch.
I agree.
I think we're all on board.
Agree.
I think we're all on board on that. And final bullet point number 5. No segue needed since I messed it up already.
Okay, number 5. The entire show was very emotional as the panel and guests talked about the incredible camaraderie in the Lone Star locker room and what the team means to them. There was a lot of sniffles and some crying too, and even though I'm not a part of the team, I too got caught up in my feels. That is, until I remember that this is a show about football, not an episode of friggin' Oprah. I did a shot of whiskey, trash talked the guy I was playing Call of Duty with, jumped on my Harley, blasted Born to Be Wild as I broke the speed limit flying down the highway. I feel much better now.
Did you feel a lot more manly after that?
I really did. I really did. I even threw a rock through a window of my neighbor's house.
Yeah,
So,
that'll show them.
yeah, that'll show.
That'll show them not to listen to this show.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah, man.
that's awesome. All right, Bullet, thank you so much for those. Love recapping the previous shows with you every week. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week, buddy.
2 weeks in a row, I dodged the bullet.
Wait.
Yeah,
Oh, so
well,
you know what that means, right?
all bullet point. It's going to be an all Charles bullet point special next week.
That's it.
What?
Well, you know what? We should just work a whole show around that. Let's work on that. Bullet. Hey,
You got it.
yeah, I'll DM you later, bro.
All right, take
All
care,
right, man.
guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. This is normally the point of the show, folks, where we talk about Nate's great plays of the week. Well, we don't have any great plays because we didn't play this week. We had a bye. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to put all these 3 panelists on the spot right now. Beginning with you, Charles. As you've seen 10 weeks of our play this season, 10 games, what would you rate as Nate's best play? Because it seems like they're all about Nate anyway.
Nate's best play. I would say the first interception the first interception where he took it into the end
Oh, the
zone.
very first play of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good call because
I was trying to come up with something witty and I got nothing.
that's all right. I'm going to pull the schedule up. Who was that against? Did anybody remember who we opened up against? It was Queen City. We kicked off to Queen City. Queen City, first play of the game, if I'm not mistaken, Bo. Bo, I'm going to go to you next. Nate intercepts it for a pick 6, right? Is that how that went down?
Yeah.
Bo Martin Jr.? Are you there, Bo?
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah,
Right.
that's how that one went down. It was against Queen City. You're absolutely correct. The one I was thinking of is, I believe it was. I want to say he had one against Portland that sealed the victory for us. I believe that was the game where we were really struggling offensively, and we couldn't get in the end zone. And I believe it was either that game. Maybe I'm mixing up the games, but Nate came up with 2 interceptions back to back. He had one straight up, and then on the very next series, he had one where I think it was off of Albert's head, but.
Oh, that was he had one. Albert's head was last week.
Okay, then no, there was one, not that one then, but there was one where he had 2 interceptions in a row, and one of them actually sealed the victory for us.
Gotcha.
So, and I can't remember the game, but it was actually he had 2 interceptions that game, and I think that was probably his shining moment of the season. He's been kicking butt this year, man.
Yeah, he really has. He really has. I mean, I don't know how many interceptions he has. I think it's at least 4, maybe 5. I think he's leading the team. He's having a hell of a season for sure.
Since he's really taken advantage of the fact that teams are afraid to throw to my side. San Diego, I'm just saying, don't be afraid of me. I won't hurt you. I promise. Feel free to throw to my side. Take advantage of me. Listen, I said it before. I'll campaign to be thrown at again. I can be beat. You guys have awesome receivers. Trust your receivers, and I guarantee you that your receivers will definitely have the ball thrown their way. I promise you.
All right. Hey, so before I go, I'm going to go to Ike here.
I didn't say they would catch it. I said they'd have it thrown.
They have it thrown away. Before I go to Ike and get her vote on Nate's greatest play of the season, Charles, I just want to ask you two quick questions. Have you ever heard Bo talk about teams not throwing his way before?
Never.
There's that. I've never.
Not to mention it.
I've never heard that. And the other thing I've never heard of, and I'm going to ask him when he comes on here in a minute. Did Yogi play football before? I don't remember what position he played.
There are rumors going around that he may have punted once or twice.
Oh, you know what? We're going to have to go to him and confirm that.
But back to Bo. If
This is
nobody's
true.
throwing your way, aren't you doing your job?
Well,
Aren't
and
you
you know what?
covering?
I suppose I am. However, you don't make all-star teams when people aren't throwing at you. So
Don't go all-star, bro. I mean, not all-star is well, I'm going to shut up. Okay. I'm just going to say you're doing a great job.
You are doing a great job.
And if they're not throwing to you, then that's great.
I agree with that. Ike, Nate's greatest plays of the season. He's had a lot of them. He's had a lot of interceptions, a couple pick sixes, some great deflections. Do you have a favorite?
My favorite is the interception off Albert's head
This past week? Yeah, that was awesome.
last week.
Oh,
but
nice.
but actually, Van has one more interception than he does.
Oh, he does?
And just in case you don't know, if you didn't watch the game this past Sunday night, but Nate doesn't like me, so I'm not going to say anything about him.
I don't know anything about that, but I will look into that after the show now, I guess. I'm very intrigued all of a sudden.
It's at about, if you look, like 37 minutes into the game, he says not to say anything bad about Ike, but
Oh, bad.
Wait.
Bad.
you know that just doesn't go well.
Uh-oh.
So
Wait, was that in chat? He said that in chat? It's like it's written
He
out?
was the announcer of the game.
Oh, he announced our own game?
What?
He announced the San Diego
Portland game. Okay.
on Sunday
Ooh.
night,
Gotcha.
and he really misses his old buddy.
Who's his old buddy?
A running back for Portland, Love.
Oh, Ezekiel Love? Oh,
Mhm.
I did not know that.
So he wasn't giving me any love at all. He's like,
Apparently, all the love is for Ezekiel and none for Ike. Wow.
is. So
Wow.
Wow.
I'm a Van fan because he has 5 interceptions. and they have 4.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. All right, so since we didn't have Nate's great plays of the week, we thought we'd just talk about Nate, but apparently there's some inside information now from Ike, and we're going to have a talk with Nate later after the show. But before we do that, let's move on. Yogi's in the house. Yogi, it was a very interesting week in the South, a very light week, if you will. We had 2 teams on byes, and the other 2 teams played each other, so not a lot to talk about this week, but we do have some. So what's up down south, Yogi? And can you start the segment off by letting everybody know what position you played in football?
Fullback and punter.
Wait, punter?
Wait, you played
Yeah,
punter?
punter.
I've never heard that
Punter.
before.
No, I don't talk about it a lot. I don't like to let that cat out of the bag. But I got something for Bo.
Shit.
Deion Sanders made the Hall of Fame without having people throw at
Oh,
him.
that's a great
Just
point.
saying, just saying.
That's a great point.
You know what? You are absolutely correct. I hope that I just hope that the SFL appreciates and feels that same way, and then I'll be okay. But
There you go.
if I gotta earn my way in, that means people are gonna have to throw it at me. If I can get in off of people not throwing at me, I'm okay with that too. But I at least want to be seen and be appreciated.
Well,
There you go.
There you
we'll
go.
We'll get you that cape.
All right, Yogi, tell us what went on in the Tex-Mex division this week.
Well, there was one game.
One
And
whole
They
game.
played each other. One whole game. So want me to stretch this out?
No,
I'll do it like
no,
I'll
we
do
already
it
know it's
like
going to be a
the,
short show. We've already got like 2 segments not happening, a half a segment here, a half a segment there. We're about wrapped up anyway.
Oh, I was going to do it like the pistachio turtle.
Oh, if you want to. I mean, knock yourself out.
Burr 21. I speak turtle. It was a great game. The total yards were 412 for Houston to 404 for Mexico, and I was surprised at that when I started looking at the stats. Mexico scored 24 points in the fourth quarter, and Houston only scored 14. That was your difference in the game. Dave Burr had 323 yards. There wasn't a lot of rushing. Brad Jones had 17 for 74, but with 2 touchdowns. DR Sim had 7 for 128 and a touchdown every week. Fenimore was 5 for 132 and a touchdown. And it was all defense. Josh Rowe, no interceptions this week, but 9 tackles and 2 assists from the secondary. David Harrell, 13 tackles, 2 assists, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass defenses. Both kickers were 2 for 2 on field goals. Matt Wilson was 29 of 44 for 330 yards. He spread it out amongst 9 receivers. Jason Bartley led them with 7 catches for 100 yards. Receivers or running backs got the 9 catches, or nine different people. Phoenix Jones was 17 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown. And on defense, you had Jared Brody had 1 tackle, 1 assist, 1 pass deflection, and 1 huge end of the game walk-off interception pick 6. Jeff Daggs had 9 tackles, 3 assists, and Ronnie Watson, that name sounds familiar. Maybe Fab Freddy knows him. 5 tackles, 4 assists, and 1 tackle for loss. It was a great game. Mexico stole that one, and with that, they stole the lead in the South. They're 6-4. We're 6-4.
Well, I
Houston
wouldn't say
is 5-5.
stole the lead. I'd say that we're tied, and they have that very slight overtime victory
Let them have it for right now.
tiebreaker. So I don't know. I
Let them
wouldn't-
have it for right now. According to if the playoffs started right now, they are ahead of us. But we'll get that back in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And
Fort Worth is 3-7 and not looking good for them.
yeah, no, that's not good. Houston's still in the mix. I think they're just outside the bubble, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, they hold their own destiny in their hands. So we could, if they can win out, we could see 3 teams from the South in the playoffs, which would be great.
That would be great.
representation.
And which would be typical of our division on a normal year anyway.
Yeah.
So there you
Yep.
go. Awesome. All right, Yogi, thanks for dragging that out and buying us some time, bro. Appreciate it.
And sorry about that mic issue earlier. I had muted it, and then I got my grandson.
Oh, no
spending-
worries. I just-
spending the night over, and Mom had to, of course, check on him right during our show.
No worries at all,
Yeah.
bro. I just server
Thank
muted
you,
you.
man.
Made it easy. It's fun.
Good.
It's cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Marco Swift in the house. I see him. Houston's so close. What's up, Dave, Yogi, Gunny? What's up, SFL? Marco, good to see you, bro. Welcome to the show. Another gentleman who is in the show tonight is my good friend Frank, the franchise Wade. First of all, Frank, how are you doing? Welcome back to the show, bro.
Oh, hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm doing good, Dave, and thanks for having me. We've had a little change of weather. It was like 70-something degrees when I woke up this morning, and it was 55 when I came home. So now my voice is kind of jacked up, so I have to apologize for that.
That's right. I get it. It was 81 degrees here earlier this afternoon. It's dropped down into the 40s here as well, and we've got a tornado on the way.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
So I'm going to be on the air, and then I'm going to be in the air at some point during the show. So that'll be fun.
well,
in the
y'all
mean-
be safe up there.
Oh, we will. In the meantime, we play San Diego Mavericks. I think this is only their 2nd season, if I'm not mistaken, in the SFL. And they've had an up and down season. You know, they beat Florida and a couple other good teams. They've been struggling as of late, along with, like Bo mentioned, some progressions missed and what have you. But tell us about the San Diego Mavericks franchise.
Well, not much history with this team, so that's all I've got. No, I'm kidding. This is their 3rd season, but I do have some franchise facts. Optimus Klein spent 8 seasons with the Storm before he got his franchise. Once he did, he headed off to San Diego and brought the Mavericks to the league in time for season 16. San Diego is home to the naval base in San Diego that is the home port of the Pacific Fleet Service Navy. Optimus chose the Mavericks name with its reference to Pete Maverick Mitchell, a character from Top Gun. Plus, it opens the door for many, many Top Gun gifts. I believe that he chose the gray color of the uniforms for the Navy fighter planes, but it took him a season or two to come up with the right gold color to match it. This season they added the red color that gives the uniforms a little versatility. Season 16 didn't deliver like they wanted to. They finished 0-12. They're currently 7-27 overall. This season, Liam Hammer became co-owner. This offseason, Liam Hammer became co-owner and brought an offensive philosophy that puts the ball in the air. Season 18 started off with a bang. In week 5, they were 3-1, sitting on top of the Pacific Division, and then the bottom fell out. They've lost 6 in a row, including a tough loss to Portland, and just sit ahead of them in the standings. This team was built with a lot of free agents. Their first draft class was only 4 players, and 2 of those guys are still with the team. Fullback Nick Hoagland and free safety Ray Lanier the third, if I'm saying his last name right. He has accumulated 180 tackles, 66 assists, 6 tackles for losses, 10 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles in his 3 seasons with the Mavericks. Key free agent additions were added the next 2 seasons. Liam Hammer, who y'all are familiar with, has 3,925 receiving yards. 2,447 of those yards have been with the Mavericks, and of those 2,447, 1,359 of those yards are in this season right here in 10 games. He is averaging almost 21 yards a catch. He has 28 total TDs with 10 so far this season. Gunnar Lewis, in my mind, was a steal in free agency this offseason. He has almost doubled his output from any of his previous seasons. He has 101 receptions, 1,300 yards, just over 1,300 yards, and 13 touchdowns in 10 games. This receiving duo ranks 1 and 2 in the stat column and can score at any time from anywhere, quietly becoming one of the better receiving duos in the league. Jalen Wells was a fullback with his old team, but came to San Diego as a running back, where he has racked up 2,100 yards of his 3,000. Zach Holdorf came over last season to patrol the secondary. He had 10 of his 17 interceptions then. He has 119 total tackles, 56 assists this season. And I can't go without talking about the tight end and my friend Optimus Klein. His career yards totals almost 10,000 yards, 60 TDs. His best performance was in season 11 when he had over 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns. The offense can score in the air. They are ranked second in passing overall, but second to last in rushing. Wells only has 3 rushing touchdowns. Their defense is first in defending the pass, but dead last in defending the run. Ike McBride might have her biggest game this weekend. They are averaging 26 points on offense, but giving up almost 32 points. The Mavericks are just a couple of players away from being competitive in the Pacific. To build a tight-knit locker room and a winning culture is their main objective. It's only a matter of time, and Optimus and Liam will have this team in the playoffs.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the receiving core is ridiculous. They got a great running back. They're picking up defenders each season. I think you're right. I think it's kind of weird. Frank, what do you think about this, excuse me, this 6-game skid that they're on? What do you attribute it to? I don't know if you've seen all their games or what have you, but it seems like they were so promising earlier in the season, and I just don't know what happened after that.
Well, I haven't seen all their games, but looking at the stats, if like I said, they need a running game to help that offense. You can't rely just throwing the ball in the air continuously, I feel. And then they've got a good running back that could be used a little bit more. And defensively, being able to stop them on defense and getting the ball back.
Right.
They're in games. Some of their losses, I believe, were close. So, one ball bounce this direction for them, they could be out of this 6-game skid.
Right. All right. Frank, thanks for being here as always, bro. Appreciate all the information, all the details you put together for us, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
That's awesome. Take care.
All right.
Be careful, Dave.
See you, bro. All right, folks. So week 13, Lone Star travels to my most recent hometown before Knoxville, San Diego. I love that city. It is my favorite city in the entire country. Charles, I don't know. Did you ever spend any time in San Diego when you were in the Navy?
Not in the Navy, but I've been down to La Jolla is a little north of San
It's
Diego,
a little
right?
north of San Diego, yeah.
I did some contracting work north in the north part.
Yeah, and Gunny's saying Axel Raven, one of the coordinators over there as well. As you see this San Diego roster, they can put a lot of points up in any given game. One of the things that stood out to me that Frank just said, Charles, is that they give up a lot of points. We put up a lot of points. Is that an advantage to us?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. The one point I want to make, though, I don't know if Frank said this or anybody else previously, but Scar Patterson, their quarterback, is second in the league with attempts, right behind Johnny Pickler. But he's got a QBR of 86, which is putting the ball up that amount of times, and he's also on the right side of the touchdown interception ratio. He's got 27 passes and 26 interceptions. I mean, that's a lot of interceptions, but I mean, the guy is, I mean, when you look at his build, he's got 5 animations.
Wow.
And almost every key attribute is 90. So, I mean, the guy's loaded. And they like to pass it. But to your point, I think if we smack him in the mouth, I think we got a chance.
Ike, as our all-star running back, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, you see names that have been around for quite a while: Pete Mitchell, Tom Krieg, Axel Raven. He's only a couple seasons, but he's well known. Leon Thunderman is an outstanding linebacker. They've got Wolf Justice, a little younger. Zach Holdorf, of course, and Stephon Forge. They have a decent defense. They are giving up a lot of points. As a running back, what are you hoping to see? What are you looking forward to this weekend against the San Diego defense?
Well, I think if the line can make just a little bit of a hole for me, I think I'll be able to get some pretty good yards. When I was watching Sunday night's game, it almost seemed like they were overplaying the run, which is why I think Ezekiel had such a really good game. I will say, though, that if you look at their offense, I think Charles said something really important. They barely use their running back. They rarely throw to him. But Liam and Gunner both have over 1,300 yards this year already. And everybody else has way fewer yards, including Optimus. So, I think that Bo's going to get a lot of business if they keep throwing to Liam. I think it's going to make for a pretty exciting game.
Bo, she brings up a good point, right? Optimus hasn't had a normal Optimus type season. That could just be because defenses are keying on him because they know who he is. But, I mean, Liam Hammer and Gunnar Lewis have been tearing it up. But let's talk about Jalen Wells for a moment. On the defense, I know you're more about covering receivers, but, I mean, Jalen Wells is very well known, very well documented in his career in this league. Do you think that it's just one of these cases where they are so talented in the receiver and tight end core that they're trying to take advantage of that? Are they playing possum with Jalen a little bit? What do you think's going on there, bro?
So you've heard me talk sometimes about how running backs are used, and sometimes I feel that certain running backs are misused. I've talked a lot about London and their use of Robert Merrill and how I feel that he could be used in a much better way. I kind of feel the same way about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells has been around in this league for quite some time. He's not new to the league, and I was looking at his animations and some of his attributes. He's got all the tools to be a top 5 running back in the SFL. But I feel like San Diego is attempting to go something similar, offensive style as Vancouver. The only thing is it's not being executed quite as well. Because Vancouver's running back is still, even though Vancouver is definitely a pass first team, they still involve their running back a lot in the game, even if they just catch him out in the flat and get him in space. So I feel like San Diego may be trying to emulate their style, however, not quite as effectively. Because I feel like Jalen Wells could definitely be used a lot more in space I understand that he's a different type of back than some, but I feel that there's much more ways to get him the ball. And when you do get him the ball, he could be very effective, especially considering they've got all these great receivers out in San Diego. If you can spread the ball and then get Jalen Wells some openings, then yeah, people would be much less likely to stack the box against Jalen Wells because they would know that it's possible for him to get the ball, but they're not really worried about, I should say, they're not really worried about stacking the box because they don't really give him the ball. So I feel like if they utilized him a little bit better, it would really open up San Diego's game.
Speaking of San Diego, I'm sorry, real quick. I was just going to say Axel Raven in the house. I'm not sure if I said Art Vandelay earlier. Commander Root is here. Aletian. A few more people jumping in. James Walters, 87. Mike the Machine, all. Nats Zelly in the house. A few others. Thank you all for being here tonight. Charles, what were you going to say about that?
Yeah, just an interesting stat line here that both Ike and Jalen have the same amount of carries, 168 both. Ike's averaging 4.7 and Jalen's averaging 3.8. So, I mean, Jalen is getting the same amount of carries that Ike's getting. And, I don't know if it's the plays, particular plays they're running. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but
it could be, if they have any
so many different factors. But Jalen is one of the best running backs in the league. I think top 10, definitely. And it's an eye opener that his numbers aren't higher.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too. And I don't know what he left. It was Sioux Falls, right? He played for before. Mm-hmm. And at that time, Sioux Falls was on top. He leaves. Sioux Falls struggles for a couple of seasons. He goes to San Diego, but he goes to a new team that's struggling as well. So I just don't know if Jalen's not being used properly. I don't know if he's got a proper offensive line maybe. There's a lot of question marks there, but I think both of you guys are right that Jalen Wells, when you look at his build, is a dynamic running back in this league with a great history. That was an interesting stat that Charles just said. You and him having the same amount of carries, you having more yards per carry. And I know you mentioned earlier about opening things up. But let me ask you this. Do you think San Diego coming off a loss to Portland hadn't won a game all season. They finally won a game. Do you think that is more of they're going to take it more on the chin and not sure maybe what to do this week? Or do you think they're going to use it as motivation to come and try and kick our ass?
So until you told me that 3 people, or whoever said it, 3 people missed their progressions, I was thinking that they were going to be using it as motivation to come kick our asses. However, if you've got members of the team who aren't as excited and revved up for it, I don't know if you're going to get the motivation for the team and what you need out of them to do that. But if, I think I've done stats on 2 of their teams and then watched Sunday's game, or 2 games and then watched Sunday's game. And it's, although their quarterback is a rookie, and it's almost like he throws really well, but if for some reason this last week the passes were just off a little, the throws to Liam were out of bounds, things were just a little bit off. So, I don't know if Liam running that offense can get them back clicking the way that they need to, but I do think that knowing Liam, I think that their loss to Portland is going to be inspiration for him to come out and kick our asses. But we've got so many offensive weapons. I don't know how they can say, oh, let's key on Ike and we'll shut her down and that'll shut down LSG, because it hasn't happened all season.
So Scar Patterson has the second highest value of any quarterback in the league.
Wow. But is that all because
here's an interesting fact, though, when you're looking at the quarterbacks, though, when you look at the top 4, I'm not slighting any of these folks, but JQ, Scar Patterson, Johnny Reno, and Ashley Jackson. So I guess, he's got 6
animations.
Animations.
Yeah.
That's insane. He's a rookie, right?
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So Axel Raven is in the chat. Axel, how many players miss progression? If you know off the top of your head, is it 3
5.
or 4? Oh, it's 5 now. So Bo, I'm gonna
Well,
wrap
5 online. Axel may know better than
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, Cornwall says 5. And by the way, Zach, you misspelled. You messed up your thing. You said Mavericks are going to shit the bed against the Glory. Is what you meant to say. Sorry, my bad. I just wanted to correct your grammar there. And
You
your
sure you didn't
spelling.
mean to say shit down the Glory?
He said shit down instead of shut down, but I think he meant shit the
Oh.
bed against the Glory is what he really meant.
Okay.
But all of that being said, let's talk about those players, Bo, that have not progressed this deep into the season. Is that just a hands up, give up kind of thing, you think? And San Diego's going to end up drafting more people or have to really hit it hard in free agency to replace some people? How do you and on top of that, how do you think that's going to affect this weekend playing against us if you've got 5-year players that didn't even progress?
So let me be clear. When I say in my Barack Obama voice, let me be clear. I have.
Is that all you got? Let me be clear. That's it. You can't do the whole. You can't do this whole
that's all I
segment in
got.
Obama voice.
That's all I got. No. I am not a member of their locker room, right? So when I speak of this, I'm not speaking of what their locker room is like. However, I do feel like progression or lack thereof is oftentimes directly related to your locker room situation. Now, what I mean by that is when you have people who are truly together and working together on success and making the team a success, then we pick each other up. It doesn't matter who. If it comes to Monday night and either I might see that there's a couple of people who haven't progressed, or it might be you, Dave, or it could be anybody. It could be Van Lacey, it could be J Mart, whoever it notices that other players haven't progressed. It's like, hey, buddy, let's talk. Like, what's going on? Is everything cool? And then we can try to find out what's going on and why people haven't progressed. So as I look at some of the player names that haven't progressed, let me see who we have here. For example, the first player name that I see that hasn't progressed is Liam Hammer. So you tell me, as one of the leaders of the team, what's going on,
and we know Liam really well.
And what's going on, and why haven't you progressed? And then Lottie Lou and Bill Cherry also have missed the progression. And so it really makes you wonder, and those are all, with the exception of Bill. I think Bill is a tight end. I'm not sure, but those are all offensive players, I think. So it makes you really wonder.
Bill, are you talking about Bill Cherry?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's a tight end or something, or fullback.
Okay.
Fullback, I think.
It makes you wonder what's going on. And then you've got Nana Leahy, who's missed multiple progressions this season. And then as well as it looks like Zach Lay missed progression as well. So,
so real quick, I think Cornwall talking about Zach. I think, are you talking about Liam? In real life, his grandma just passed away, so I guess missing this progression, I guess, is understandable if it hasn't been a pattern. Okay, yeah, thank you, Zach. So of course,
okay.
Listen,
so
we know
in regards to Liam, then he gets a pass, no questions asked.
But still, that leaves you 4.
But that still leaves you with 4, and I really hope and pray that all 4 of those people have not experienced a loss that tragic as to why they have not progressed their players.
Right.
But if they have, then of course, then they're excused as well. But I find that hard to believe that they've all got an excuse as valid as the one that Liam has. So, but what that typically says about a locker room, it usually speaks volumes. And so I don't know. And again, please forgive me, San Diego. I'm not in your locker room, so I don't intend to speak for you. However, if people miss multiple progressions, and I get it, we can't control what people do off the field. I mean, if you have any questions, look at Jimmy Hazard.
Right.
So, but it really shows what the team is focused on, I think, and it's a collaboration of things. And so, not to say that San Diego is going to mail in the rest of the year, but if you think about what their teammates are doing to them, it really makes it tough as a team to come together when your team is not advancing as a unit. Because if some are not progressing, then other people are falling back, which means you're holding your entire team back. This is truly a team sport. And it doesn't matter how good any single player is. So Scar Patterson can be the highest paid quarterback or the highest rated quarterback in the SFL or whatever he is, number 1 or number 2. And that's great. That's great for Scar Patterson. But unfortunately, he doesn't play the game by himself. And so until people realize that this is truly a team sport, and everybody has to be involved, even if all you do is progress your player, even if that's all you do.
Right.
Even if you know, maybe you can't watch the games, maybe you can't be a commentator, or maybe you can't be, like we're on here on Road to Glory. Maybe you don't want to do anything but progress your player. The least you can do is do that, because at the end of the day, that's your contribution to the team.
Was Zach Lay one of the players you just named?
Yes.
So, Yogi, are you still with us? I want to bring something else up real quick.
Yes, I'm here.
So Zach Lay is Alan, the old owner of Charleston.
Yeah.
So he's not affiliated with Charleston at all anymore?
No, he sold it to Johnny.
I know he sold, but I thought he was staying a couple seasons to oversee
his
things.
player went as a free agent to San Diego. I saw that in the off season.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that, what you wrote in there.
Yep.
Let's wrap this segment up, Charles. And I know this is a San Diego LSG statement, but we've kind of gone off the beaten path a little bit, and I want to get your opinion. We talked about it earlier in the season when Cam came on, that more people seem to be missing progression this season, or at least more big-name players are missing progression this season than in seasons past. I'm just wondering, with 23-man rosters now?
Yeah.
Do you think it's just a matter of that many people in each locker room just makes it that much harder for people to progress? Do you think it is just real life getting in the way? I mean, to me, it seems like I've heard about it more this season than the previous 5 past seasons that I've been here.
Well, the one thing you have to, line up against that is we've just recently had the portal. We haven't been able to go out and look at the other teams as easily as we are now and see who misses and who doesn't miss.
So it could have been even worse than what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but it seems pretty high to me. I mean, we are dealing with a lot of real life crap that everybody knows about when you turn on the news. That could, I mean, I don't know. I think Lone Star's been pretty fortunate that I don't know if we've missed the progression since season 15.
I don't think we've ever missed a progression.
And to Bo's point, I think Bo was saying this, that when we start getting into the deadline, everyone on the team, all 23 of us, start getting hyperactive and making sure everybody gets their shit in.
Right.
And that's just us. I mean, but thank God we haven't had to deal with any thing like Liam had to, and I hate to brag on us because you don't know what's going to hit us, but
right now, and let's be honest, we have had that. We have had lots of people in our locker room miss, or not miss progression, but have family members.
I know,
but it happens.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard for me. I'm hesitant to go out and knock a team for having missed progressions because I don't know the entire story.
Right.
I mean, we could take shots at them all day, but all I want to say is, Liam is, he was a plank owner at Lone Star, and he's Lone Star for life in my my mind. But I'm just fortunate that our team, we kind of rally around that deadline and get everybody in when we need to. So, to that we're blessed, but other teams, have had to deal with maybe some things that were out of their control.
Yep. I want to echo the sentiments of a lot of people in chat right now from the show. Of course, all of Lone Star, we're going to send our condolences to Liam and his family. For those of you who didn't know, Liam played a couple seasons at Lone Star. We love that kid. He had to step away for a while, came back, hooked up with Optimus to go to San Diego, and they're having a blast over there. So, Liam, we love you, bro, and hopefully you'll be back soon, and everything will be okay with your family. Moving on to the next segment, and the next segment is what?
Can you? Yeah, you! It's time for mail call!
It's Gunny's mail call. Gunny, are you with us? And if you are, what's up? How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, Dave. I'm here. Thank you very much.
As for those of you who don't know, or if you've forgotten, each week Gunny has his mail call, and what he does is he lets everybody know about 2 or 3 players from Lone Star, about the people behind the player. So, Gunny, who do you got tonight? And you can just take it away.
We got 3 outstanding, glorious teammates tonight on the offensive side of the ball. First, I just want to shout out to Axel Raven and Zach Hordor for being in the chat, and looking forward to playing you guys this coming weekend in San Diego. All right, first off, for our glorious teammates, we have Greg Soto, wide receiver, number 11. We call him the Cuban Missile. In the minor leagues, he played for the Indianapolis Navigators. Season 15, he played for the Chicago Wildcats. Season 16, he came to Lone Star Glory, and he's still with us. Season 17 and 18, he is our offensive coordinator. Some of Greg's stats: receptions, 282 receptions. Receiving yards, 3,583. Touchdowns, 25. Targeted 388 times. The Cuban Missile crisis comes to us, to the SFL from Indiana. Greg is the proud parent of 2 kids, 1 son who is in school abroad in England, and 1 daughter who will be graduating this May. And this fall will be attending college in Savannah. And I believe Greg is going to be following his daughter and moving down here to Georgia. So he's going to come visit Gunny on his way through Atlanta. Greg's favorite sport growing up was soccer. So with that, Greg, let's go Miami Azul. All right, next up we have Adam Williams. We call him the Worm. I don't know why. I might need to ask Dave this question. He's our tight end, number 86. In the minor leagues, he played for the Madison Lynx. If I'm not mistaken, he was I think he was the punter. He was drafted in the 5th round of the supplemental draft, the 74th pick overall. He's been with Lone Star Glory since season 15. This is his 4th season with Lone Star Glory. His stats: receptions, 223. Receiving yards, 2,956. Touchdowns, 18. And targets, 310. Adam comes to the SFL via Wisconsin. Adam played baseball while he was in college. Adam and Dave Axis have met in Las Vegas in 2006 and remain friends to this day. Adam is our silent assassin on the field. He doesn't say much, but I'm damn proud to call him my teammate. Next up, we have our president of all things glorious, Dave Axis, wide receiver number 88. In season 14, he played for the Atlanta Swarm. He was the season 14 number 14 draft pick by the Atlanta Swarm. In season 14, he was the 3rd wide receiver on the Atlanta Swarm team that won the season championship in season 14. A side note for Dave Axis: when I was playing for Chicago, Dave Axis was the attended wide receiver when Gunny got his first FSL interception. Receptions for Dave, 252. Receiving yards, 3,046. Touchdowns, 25. Targets, 368. Dave comes to the SFL via California to Knoxville, Tennessee. He's married to the lovely, amazing Pink Lisa for 30 years. Together they have 2 sons, Zach and Drew. This May, Dave and Lisa will be celebrating their 30-year wedding vow ceremony. Fun facts I share with Dave Axis: we both graduated in 1987. We were both 6 months apart in age, so when we're 52 and 53, we share the same birthdays. We both served in the Marine Corps. We're both Desert Storm veterans. Mr. President, Mr. Ambassador of Lone Star Glory, that is all.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate the kind words. Gunny, we love what you do here every week. And we're out of players now, so I can't wait to see what you come up with next week. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week, buddy. All right, folks. Wow. He said a lot of nice things about me. I'm looking at the Cornwall. I told you that. How many times have I told you I'm your daddy? You come on, bro. You know better than that. Yeah, Axel, he lives in Wisconsin. You're in, are you in La Crosse? Yeah. Let me see what else we got going on here in the chat. Am I the only player on the team with a championship ring? I think that's true, Bo. I'm not sure. I think so, though. I think you're right. All right, folks. So I told you this was going to be a pretty short show. We've only got, oh, you're in the Minneapolis area, Axel? Okay. We are going to get into our last segment. Now, this is the segment, of course, that seems to always take longer than the rest of them. And as you guys know, it is all dat and a bag of chips. We do not tell Mike what to talk about on the show. We don't ask him what to talk about on the show. It's completely up to him. The only prerequisite is that he shows up eating out of a bag of chips. And what do we have tonight, Mike? Welcome back to the show. What are you eating?
Dave, I've got a cat in the way and a bag of Lay's Poppables, Southwest Ranch flavor.
Poppables. I don't. Are those like airy and light or something?
Yeah, here you go, Dave. I'll give you.
All right, give me one. Give me one. There you go. Perfect. Did you catch the bullet point earlier?
I did miss a little bit.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it later about your top 10 countdown last week. I'll DM it to you, bro. But anyway, welcome back to the show. What are we talking about, man?
So, I don't know who all here is excited for the convention coming up next season. But with this new TV deal and the convention being where it's going to be, is a lot of this, my question for all of this is a lot of this going to bring more legitimacy, more respectability to the league, help it grow? Because being in that arena, the HyperX arena at the Luxor, that's for, I don't want to make it sound like I'm putting the SFL down, but it's for like real legitimate big time,
serious
big money
gaming shit. Yeah,
esports. Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
And now we're going to be on that same stage. We're going to be out there doing our thing. We are a legitimate esport. I think with the new TV deal, that's going to be a broadcast to a lot more things, to a lot more eyes, and having us be at the HyperX arena. I think personally, it's going to bring a lot more respectability, a lot more legitimacy to our league, possibly bring in more people and help the league grow a lot more.
Right, and get us more coverage and get our name out there more. I get that a lot. Ike, let me start with you on this one. The 2022 convention is in Vegas. It's at what's it called again? HyperX, or what's the name of the
HyperX Arena?
HyperX Arena inside the Luxor. I've seen it on TV before. I've seen gaming done there. It's about as legit as you can get. It's definitely next level stuff. It's in Vegas. It's at this great venue. We have a new TV contract to go along with it. I think there's a couple other things going on with that probably haven't been announced yet. But like, what's your overall impression of the next step the league's trying to take with this particular convention and where they're having it alongside the TV deal?
Gosh, Dave, I don't know if I'm a good person to ask the question to, because I'm not that involved in the business of the league. But from what I see, it's kind of like there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, and then boom, it's kind of sent out to us. And if, I'm just Ike McBride, 34, playing for Lone Star Glory. So,
right.
I don't really care, but I do care in that I have concerns that we don't get too big for our britches, quote my grandmother. That, this may be, while it's a great opportunity for us, I don't know if it might be too much for our infrastructure. That's kind of
Right.
Thoughts.
So going on that, Bo, that's actually a good point, Ike. So, I mean, the whole point of being on TV, being in Vegas, is to get more exposure, right? Get more coverage, get the name out more, bring more people in. Now, we know back in between around season 14, 15, the big influx of players we had due to COVID, people staying home, seeing this product on television, right? And again, I love Cam. So this is not a rip on Cam or whatever, but sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And with the influx of people seemed to be a little overwhelming at the time. We had to play catch up on a few things like the subscription model and the portal and things like that. I haven't talked to Cam about infrastructure and if we're ready for another big influx or not. But number one, does Ike have a valid point on that? And number two, do you think that this is the right venue and the right time to take this league to the next level?
So that's a loaded question. There's a lot to unpack there, Dave. But
it's how I roll.
Is Ike correct in what she says? I don't think it's a matter of correct or incorrect with Ike. Her opinion is one that is very valid and possible that she's correct. However, I'm gonna just say it, and this isn't gas. I'm gonna just keep it real. Cam's a different type of dude, man. What I've noticed, and I've had several conversations, private conversations with Cam about this league and about his direction for the league. And he's so uber aggressive with his belief in this league and his projections as far as where he expects this league to grow. Okay. I'm a product of that COVID-19 influx of players from season 14 to 15. I'm a product of that, and so I respect that. However, Ike talks about getting too big for our britches, and I don't necessarily know that that's true. It can be, absolutely, but there are those of us who have a bigger risk appetite than others,
right? And
for those of us who do have a larger risk appetite, then by all means, you take as big a bite as you feel you can handle. I think about something that we're all very familiar with now called Zoom. Well, when coronavirus first started, Zoom was virtually non-existent. It was a baby company. And a lot of people don't realize that video chatting was dominated by Skype. And people don't even, and when I say the name, people are like, oh my God,
I remember Skype.
Back when Corona first started, video chatting was dominated by Skype. However, there was one company who decided to go all in, balls to the wall, throw caution to the wind, and throw everything that they had into building an infrastructure to support the massive influx of video conferencing calls. Now, that company was Zoom. Now, one might say, did they take a risk? Oh, of course. They took an astronomical risk, because what happens after Corona's over? Do people stop using it? What happens? They didn't care about that. And look at where they are now. Now they have changed the entire game of video conferencing, and there's no going back for them. It's not going to, Skype is never going to be able to take them over unless they decide to let them. So what I mean is, Zoom's risk appetite was so much larger than what Skype was willing to invest in, and the payout was huge. And so I say all that to say that Cam is very aggressive in his risk taking. True enough. Could it be a massive failure? Quite possibly. Could it be a massive success that changes esports forever? Quite possibly. So all that said, everyone is entitled to their opinions. I'm more risk proponent. I'm more risk. I'm not adverse to taking risk, I should say.
Right.
So I'm more leaning towards the side of Cam. But for those who are not, then you just basically sit back and enjoy the ride, and you see where it ends up. But either it's going to be an amazing flight or an amazing crash. Either way, I'm here for it.
So, Charles, let me wrap up this part with you before we get back to Mike. It's the perfect venue in the perfect city, if you ask me, right? It's Vegas, it's esports, it's that arena, it's like almost like the perfect storm. But if you do talk about risk, what are the risks involved, and what are the potential? And again, I haven't talked to Cam about infrastructure. I don't know what we're prepared for or not. So everything we're talking about right now is just kind of, what if, right?
Right.
If we have another influx based off of this, like we did with COVID, number one, do you think the league will be able to handle it? Do we have it in place? But number two, how do we handle it? Do we add more roster spots? Do we need to add even more teams? I mean, because we got a lot of people say, I was fortunate to sneak in here in season 13, right before season 14, and then COVID kind of blew up, I think, during 14 or in between 14 and 15. And I saw that massive influx we had and how we had to kind of play a little catch up with the subscription model, how we had to play a little catch up with the portal. Now, those numbers, I don't know if it could be more than that. I don't know if it could be worse than that. But when you talk about risk, what are the risks? And do you think we have the infrastructure to handle a big influx of players like we did during COVID?
Oh my God!
I know it's.
Can you repeat that,
dude? I can't. I'm trying to cover all the bases on the question,
crap.
bro. I know.
Yes, no, maybe, and all the above.
All right.
No,
Thank you, Mike. Good night, folks.
I think the biggest risk is in regards to the convention and the platform that they're using. I mean, that's an outstanding, excellent opportunity for them to attract new people into the league. I think one of the challenges is going to be, let's talk about the good stuff first. The good stuff is that the league has a lot of great people in it, from diverse backgrounds, and it's a spirit of family, community, and the broadcast as a product is very good.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is going to be, I think, selling them on a game that's old. I mean, honestly, when the people that are going in there's the gamers that are going in there. If it's a gamer person that's looking at it, they're going to see it, and it's going to be hard to get past the fact that it's an old game. I mean, we can sit here and we can argue whether or not it's a good game as far as simulation goes, but that's a big. I think that's going to be a big hurdle to jump over.
Yeah, I'm actually reaching out to Cam right now to see if he's available to pop on or not, because I saw that he is listening now. I just saw him pop in to listen. I'll see if he could come in, because I to be honest with you, and Ike, I'm going to go back to you on this before we go to Mike. Mike and Ike, hey, you brought up the point, but because we don't know the inner workings of what's going on with the league, we don't know how the infrastructure is set up and what the plan is to prepare if this gets super popular. Like, we go to Vegas and we got the new TV contract, and all this happens and we blow up again. I don't know what we have in place to be prepared for that, and I know that you don't either. But can you speak to the risk as well, or the benefit to having an influx of hundreds of more people come in this league basically overnight after the convention?
So here's the thing. Can the software that we've got that builds all the players, can it handle more people? Can we expand the league to add more teams? Can we add more players to teams? That's really not what I was talking about. And where I come from and where I come with my opinion, and this will help Bo, is that I do stats. So every week I'm in the stats truck and I'm interfacing with Cam, albeit for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever. There was 1 week this year, he had COVID. He was sicker than a dog. He was doing those games. There was nobody else who could do it. He needs to have somebody else in the office, in the background, in whatever. When he gets sick, can come in and take over for him. He was lucky that he got well in a couple of weeks. It could have been a lot worse. And then what would have happened? So that's where my concern is. I think we've built the platforms to handle the players and the data in a way that can do that. And of course we can, like we've been talking about the past couple of weeks, we can always expand the league with teams and players. But the question is, who's in the back office with Cam helping him? Who can step in and do the show with Mike St. Green if he's not there? Who can be the producer on 12, 13 games a week? can push all the buttons and run the games and do what they need to do if something happens to him. And if we grow, that has to be in place. Because he can't just be making himself sicker by working himself to death.
Right. No, I think we all agree that Cam needs help. I mean, you can read into that however you want, but Cam, he needs help, right? And I've heard people, and listen, it's not an easy thing to do what Cam does when it comes to production, but it's not impossible for somebody else to do. I hope that he's getting the help, and because I think you're right. I mean, God forbid something happened to him, and then where are we from there? And if he can answer some of these questions in a public forum somewhere, that would be awesome. But Mike, so wrapping all this up, and back to you, and let me hit some things in the chat real quick first. Oh, what are you pointing at?
Cam is here.
Cam's in the blue room.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, I didn't even.
Asked him in. He came.
Hold on, I got to get over there. Cam, you got to DM me if you're gonna come on. Hold on a second. Oh, okay, yeah, Cam, go ahead. Just come on if you want to.
What up? My bad.
What's up? What's up? Hey, I don't know how long you've been listening. If you caught the beginning of the segment or what you heard, but the gist of it is with the.
I caught Ike being a sweetheart. That's what I caught.
Oh, then you missed our first comment. But what we've basically boiled that down to is this: the convention is in the perfect city, at the perfect venue in the perfect city, right? You got the TV contract to help out. Getting more exposure. When you combine the TV contract with the convention in Vegas, the exposure could be phenomenal. The concern tonight, or the question tonight, is like the explosion, if you will, that we had during COVID. Do we have the infrastructure, the staff, and are we prepared as a league to handle a huge influx of players if this thing blows up at the convention?
Yeah, well, first I think Charles said it was either, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, but he was concerned for me as well then, and Ike said it tonight. So I appreciate everybody being concerned for me. That's very nice. But in regards to the COVID explosion, we thought at the time, so I was working in college athletics, and I basically got sent home when the COVID stuff happened. And at the time, we were like, okay, this might be time for me to, kind of take a jump and start this full time. So at the time, we thought, maybe this can help us. Maybe we can explode. We did some local media stuff, all that other stuff. We really should have had the portal built even before COVID happened, right?
Right.
I think sometimes we don't realize what we can do because we've never thought about it from that perspective, right? Like, not a single person ever in league history was like, you should have a coded website that can code all of the player progression and put it into a roster file. Yeah,
Right.
like, who thinks of that stuff? And the only reason why it came up was that one of our owners, Jacob in Portland, was like, hey, I have an idea and I think I have someone that can execute it. So if we would have had the portal back then, I think it really would have made a difference. Now that we have the portal, now that, more importantly, the portal for the minor league is done, any player that joins the league now joins the portal as a base copper and can start progressing from there. And that's very important because even in the time that we didn't have the portal for the minors, we were still kind of doing what we used to do, tracking everything by hand and building rosters by hand and all that kind of stuff where Stelly was down in the minors. So, it was just at a much smaller scale. And that was always going to be phase 2 of the portal anyway. We needed to get it set up for everybody that was already in the league. So now that we have the portal, that's good. That solves that. The portal allows us to add as many players as we need, add as many teams as we want. It doesn't matter. We don't have to create anything by hand. We can just add those things on the back end, and then there we go. So now the question goes into what Ike was talking about, the production, the stats, the all that sort of stuff. There's an announcement that I haven't gotten to release yet. Another partner that's coming on board. Then we've just been trying to finalize some terms, but they specialize in live events, and they're an agency for content creators, and they do production stuff. And so I think it's really important when you think about what's needed out of production. A lot of times we think of like graphics or replays or coordination with broadcast and stats. But what also goes along with production and broadcast is your access to the roster file and your access to team playbooks. And I don't care who it is or how trustworthy the community thinks they are, but as soon as somebody else in the community that is on a particular team has access to another team's playbooks, the question becomes, are they trustworthy? And it doesn't matter if they are or not, really, Dave, right? Because it's all about, can someone make a case that they aren't? And so it's important from the production side that if people are handling production, they're also handling these files, and that the people that are handling the files could not give a crap what is in those playbooks. So it's important to bring in outside help for that. So I've talked with this company about, how we grow, the different types of things we're looking to do. And one of the things that they pitched to me as an opportunity to help me out is, hey, we can do some production stuff too. That's where we lie. And they have a lot of experience. I will be going to their convention they're putting on in June, which in 2019 had 10,000 attendees. So I can get an idea of what a bigger event looks like, right? Because all of our events have been very small, and those are the only parties I've ever thrown. So it's going to give me a good opportunity to kind of see things on a larger scale, and work with them on potential further distribution of our product. But also they're a company that can grow with me. Now, everybody has a price, right? Nobody does production for free. So ultimately we grow to the point where we can afford to bring other people on and all this stuff. But the big question has always been, well, who's going to do it? Or who's qualified to do it? Who in the community would step up and do it? And my intention has never been to necessarily bring on somebody from the community to potentially get everybody. I mean, some people don't even trust me, and I have everything to lose by putting on a quality product without any errors. So, given that fact, it's not going to work bringing in somebody from the inside to have access to the roster files. It needs to be outside people who are in it to execute said production, right? And not necessarily, in it for, who's going to win or who's going to lose, right? Or have any interest in that, quite frankly. So I think it's important to bring on companies that understand bigger esports business. I think it's important to bring on companies that have the production capabilities. And the league is going to continue to grow its live experiences for its players, its unique experiences. We want to do, live rookie drafts, live championship weekends, Hall of Fame ceremonies, in more incredible venues, right? So this is all for the future. We're just trying to shore some things up. But rest assured, right, I know that, as Ike mentioned, I need some sort of backup, something. But I also need to protect the integrity of the games and the efficacy of the games. So it's in the works.
Okay.
And there may be a transition period, right, where it's, it can be brutal for a while, but this is my life. And a lot of times people are just like, man, Cam's working his butt off. I'm good. I'm not building roofs in the summer. I'm not working the lunch rush at a really busy Chick-fil-A, right? Like, there's some jobs out there that are hard. Like, people are working their butt off. I'm working my butt off too, but it's a football game.
Well,
You know, I'm having a lot of fun too. So I stress that while sometimes there may be a lot on my plate and there may be a lot going on, this is my whole life. I've worked my entire life for moments like these. So I'm ready to go and ready to transition if there's a transition period. But I also understand that it would be very easy for me to get in over my skis
right.
as we move forward. And I'm going to need people on my team like ESTV, like this next company that just get it. They've done bigger things, bigger projects. They're in the space, and they validate us, right? That we pitch ESTV about what we're about. They're all about it. So what if we don't play a controller? So what if the game's 15 years old? Most people at HyperX, when they walk in, they won't even know what game it is. It's so old. So they're not going to know. They'll eventually find out if they, if they get really involved, but it's not like they're going to turn around and walk out of the place. They're not going to really know what it is.
Let me ask you a couple more direct questions with this potential growth that could or could not come out of this convention. It's, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that's opening weekend for the next season?
It is, yes.
It's opening weekend. Okay, so right now we've got like 90-something players in the minor leagues, which basically fills up the 4 expansion teams. Doesn't leave a lot for minor league. I know we still have time for more people to come in.
2.5 months.
Is the plan to keep the minor league? Is it to get rid of the minor league and try to focus more on more major league teams? And if we have that influx, if you don't have enough players going into week 1 next season to really do a minor league, but then you get this explosion, are you prepared to put those players into the minor league, or are they gonna have to sit around for a season and check in like we used to do back in the day? What's the plan for that based on how many people we may or may not have once that season starts?
Well, the minor league's not going anywhere. It's a good system, and the minor league rosters aren't full. The minor league rosters have 12, 13 players on them per team, so they could easily grow. Continue to grow in that 8 times 10. That's another 80 spots. But the minor league could potentially grow. But I'm not, like I said, with the portal, we can add more teams. We can add as needed. We can keep up with the growth as needed or as necessary. But in terms of them finding a home or a place, at the moment, I'm not, that's not a concern for me. And if we need a second minor league, then we need a second minor league, right? But growth is a good problem to have.
No, it is.
Because growth means revenue, and growth means being able to, keep up with the growth and continue on, building and building and building. The portal was really, that's what it was all about.
Yeah, the key factor.
Without that, and I told teams and I told my staff, at the time I think we had 400 players, and I said, if we don't build this portal, this is it. We already have too many mistakes too many human errors, too many issues with we have to build it by hand, so the off season takes forever because it takes 2 weeks to build the entire league. And if the league just gets bigger, well, it's just going to take longer to build. And there's going to be more human errors, and there's going to be more this, that, and the other. If we don't build this portal, this is it. This is the biggest we're ever going to get.
So last question for you. If I get what you're saying, that would have been the biggest you get. Now that you have the portal, it pretty much makes it, you can have as many people in here as you want. But after the 4 teams this year, if we have more growth, what's the plan after that? Is it roster expansion? Is it team expansion again? Is it both that? Is it adding to the minor league? Is it a combination of all 3? What's the plan for another explosion, if you will, like we had in COVID, if we get that after Vegas?
I think that there's a combination of things that help continue to make the SFL successful in terms of growth, right? When you have growth, you're trying to drive revenue. You're trying to get more successful. Our investors from years ago, they still haven't paid been paid back, and that's by their own design, right? So I could say, hey, when do you want me to start paying you back? They said, no, we need to continue to build up, because what happens if we lose a season for 6 months or a year for whatever reason, right? We've got massive technical failure. We got to push something back. There's a tragic death, or there's something going on in something, right? Anything. You could throw darts at a wall with that. We need to be able to make sure that if something like that happens, that the whole company just doesn't fall apart and shut down. Right. So as we grow, there's 3 different ways to help the league grow. There's bringing in more money. There's making more slots available for players, and there's growing the number of teams. Something that you don't get when you expand rosters is you don't necessarily get the same opportunities as you do when you grow number of teams. When you grow number of teams, you add a bunch of starting spots, you add a bunch of quarterbacks, a bunch of running backs, you give an opportunity for people to advance, right? They've been GMs or co-owners or whatever, and it keeps that ladder going. So expanding teams is a totally different opportunity than expanding rosters. If we've just got a bunch of bodies that we need to move, we expand rosters, because while we don't have the superstar opportunities available, it's at least an opportunity to move up the ladder and continue to play. And then you can also raise prices, right? Which we try to do very little of. And if you notice every off season, Dave, usually we'll do one of those 3 things, right? We'll either say, hey, it's time. We've just got a line out the door, supply and demand. We need to raise some prices, or we expand the rosters and we don't raise prices, or we expand teams and we don't raise prices. So it gives us a chance to do a little bit of everything, because ultimately, Dave, I think the best league is one that grows in multiple ways and not just one way. And I think if we do a little bit of it all at a time, then I think it's for the best. My investors always say 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's our motto. We don't need to be throwing 40-yard bombs, right? We just need to grow 3 yards every time. Get a first down. Keep on moving. Be patient. So we see this off season, our 10th year as a league, 10th calendar year as a league, as an opportunity to really kind of take the next step. And now that we have the portal in place for both leagues, we will be more. It will be easier to handle growth immediately, in the sense, Dave, that when people come into the server and they get a subscription and they want to be a player, we can get them on a team right away. Now, the rest of it and what happens after that, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, well, that'll need a little work. But the immediate need to grow is complete, and that's the portal. So that will help us keep up with that, with any kind of rapid growth that we have.
Okay, so quick follow-up before I throw it back to Mike, since this was his segment and we didn't even go back to him after all this time. Is there a maximum team number that we can grow to, or a maximum roster per team number, or both?
I think maximum player numbers depend on the owners themselves, and what we can get done in that department. And then in terms of number of teams, I think we're only limited by, the infrastructure that we have. If we can grow, I mean, we didn't grow from 24 for 2 years. We held firm at 24, and I didn't feel like that everything around the league was ready for more games and more teams. I wasn't personally ready for more games and more teams. I mean, we already produce over 300 games, which is over 600 hours of content per year. So that is already being produced out of my studio. But there comes a time where you look at things, and I've already developed the schedule for next season with Mike Daggs. We instituted bye weeks. I think that was a big help for shortening off seasons and helping spread things out. But Yeah, I mean, I think that the time was right, and with the amount of expansion candidates that we've already pulled in, and the amount of bids that we're going to end up with, I think that's proof right there. So.
All right. Cam, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you being available last minute on a couple of these shows lately, especially when we talk about basically topics that people really need answers to and want answers to know about the future of this league. Mike All, what do you think about everything that was said over the last half hour or so? Your segment keeps getting longer and longer, bro.
I'm fine with that. We had some extra time tonight, Dave.
We did.
Thanks for the bye week, and I always love when Cam pops in. He always has a lot of good things to say. A lot of good points were brought up. Ike especially brought up a lot of good points, and I'm glad Cam was able to come on and address them. I think being at the HyperX Arena with people being able to see that, it's going to bring a lot more legitimacy to our league, and having this new TV deal, that's a big deal to me because I found the league right before the whole COVID thing hit by cutting my cable and flipping through my Samsung TV Plus and finding it on For the Fans.
That's hilarious because I actually found it because I had my cable and I found it on DirecTV.
Yeah, and I don't have cable, so I don't have DirecTV, I don't have AT&T, which Next Level is on. But this new thing brings it to Roku, to Amazon Fire, to Samsung, to several other ways of accessing it. More people are going to have access to the league. They're gonna see the league, and bring in more people, and they're gonna be like, wow, this thing is legit. This thing is pretty awesome. And that's exactly how I felt when I was scrolling through, because I'm flipping through there, seeing what exactly is on my streaming ability with the TV Plus, and I'm like, oh, hey, look, there's football, and I kept going, and I was like, wait a minute, that was football, but that didn't look like football, and I went back and I was like, this is a video game. What the heck is going on here? And so I watched it, listened to the broadcasters, and that was it. I was sold. I did a bunch of research on it to find out exactly what was what, and here I am to this day.
That's awesome. Well, Michael, as always, you have the longest segment on our show, and once again, thanks for bringing the hot topics. And did you actually make it through your entire bag of chips?
There are still some left in here, Dave, but I had a big meal with my daughter earlier, and I can't finish. I can't do more.
I've noticed that as these segments get longer and longer, you don't bring those little snack-sized chips anymore. You bring the big bags now.
Yeah, well, I gotta share with Bo. I can't let Bo go.
Oh, don't get me started on that guy. Dude, he steals my chips all the time in the locker room. It's stupid. But Mike, thanks for being here, buddy. As always, can't wait to see what you got for us next week, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, see you, bro. All right, folks, all that and a bag of chips and the commissioner popping on to talk about infrastructure, talk about the future of the league, talk about the convention, and how all of those wrap together. It's time to wrap this shindig up, and we try to close out every single episode of Road to Glory with reminding everybody about Evan Lacey, who went missing on December 17th, 2019, found murdered January 3rd, 2020. They are still looking for his killer. His killer is still at large. If you have information or would like information, you can go to findourmissing.com/EvansHope or Facebook, Find Our Missing Evans Hope. There are rewards out there. This is a graphic that I received from Van Lacey, Evan's father, who's a player for Lone Star. It was a $1,000 reward. My understanding is that lots of people have chipped in. This reward is gone quite a bit higher, 10 times if not more. But what I want to read here each week from now on, it says, imagine this. You have been ambushed by cowards and killed, thrown into a vacant lot for so long that your parents aren't even allowed to see your body again. Wouldn't you want someone to speak up with any information available? And I can tell you right now, as a father of 2 boys, I would absolutely love anybody with information to step up and speak up. Here at Lone Star, we also are a huge team of veterans. We support veterans, and we support Objective Zero now for the last 3 seasons. Objective Zero, as all of you know, Pink Lisa is heavily involved in that, and It is basically an organization to help veterans who are contemplating suicides. If you have any inclination, any desire to help out with something like that, to be even just to donate your time, donate your money, or be one of the people who talks to these guys when they're having a hard time and need to talk to somebody, please go to Objective Zero and sign up for that. Special thanks to the party people. As always, you know you guys are my favorite part of every show I've ever done in my entire life, or at least the last 2 years. Ace Fennec for the graphics and videos he does. Frank the Franchise Wade for all his great graphics. Gunny for his segment, along with Bo Martin Jr. doing the voiceover on the intro. Bullet Boletsky, Nate Hall, Yogi Bar, Mike All, and Fab56 Freddy. What's on tap next week? Well, we got ride number 12 on the road to glory. We'll hang out with the party people once again. We'll see what's the special in the Lone Store. We'll have our regular segments with Gunny and Frank, Mike All, Bullet, Nate, Yogi, and of course Freddie giving us the sign off, as well as hopefully we'll have some people from some other teams next week finally getting back on the show. And Bo Martin Jr., I agree with you. I think Bucky should be an SFL. Actually, I was gonna say a Road to Glory sponsor. You said SFL. What else? Tomato. That being said, I think my main man Freddie's warming up his vocal cords. Dandy Don is definitely in the house. Freddie, what's up, bro?
Good evening, Dave. Great show as always. Charles, Ike, Bo, as our old buddy Dandy Don would say, turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. We call it a night, the party's over. Until next week, we'll do the same old thing again. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Freddie. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Everybody that's in the chat, who's still in here? It looks like Albert Begin's still here. Art Vandelay, Bob Funk, Bo Martin Jr., Bullet Boletsky, Commander Root, Alician, Gunny McGuire, Ike McBride, Mike All, Nate Hall, Mike All and Nate Hall, Packer Fred, Rimastino, The Commish, Spike Trap, Claire, Sudanakai, VNK, We Love Marbles, Cam Curtis is in the house, Frank the Franchise, Wade, Yogi, and probably many more. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you joining us on the 11th ride on the road to glory. We will see you next week right here on this Twitch channel at 9 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday when we do it all again on the 12th ride on the road to glory. Thank you for being here. Have a glorious week. Good luck to all the teams this weekend except for San Diego, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Good night now.